Hi, this is Lucy Abbott, and I'm here talking with some of the participants from the Fall 2011 pilot of the Sakai Open Academic Environment here at New York University, where it is known as the Atlas Network. So I have with me today a professor and a student from the Global Liberal Studies program, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Afrodesia McCannon.
Hi, I'm Murphy McAnulty.
Murphy is a freshman in the Global Liberal Studies program, and they were both in the Cultural Foundations 1 class, which is a multidisciplinary course, and I'll have Professor McCannon talk about that. Professor McCannon got involved in the pilot because she wanted to fulfill 3 pedagogical goals. She wanted to find an appropriate medium for synthesizing the different elements from an interdisciplinary course. She wanted to promote independent learning in her students, and she wanted to help her students develop research skills that synthesized across textual, scholarly materials and web-based materials. So we're going to talk a little bit with Professor McCannon and with Murphy about how this worked out in the class and a couple of assignments that they used Sakai OAE, they used the Atlas Network to do. So Professor McCannon, let's talk about your goal of trying to use this medium for synthesizing all the different elements in Cultural Foundations. Can you tell us a little bit about that class?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Cultural Foundations class that I teach is very much a global Cultural Foundations class. So it covers about 5 different areas of the world, and it covers literature, but music, performing arts, and it's just a lot of material to cover. And a lot of different disciplines to cover, many of which are either oral or visual, and needed something that could sort of represent all of those different types of art forms. And so I thought that this particular platform seemed to work well with that.
Right, you've got art history, you've got to do some music history, you've got a textual history, and you're bringing together a lot of different things across different environment. So you came up with an assignment that you call the City Treasure assignment as one of the ways that you would do this. Obviously, you're using this environment to put slides from your art text and things like that, but for this coming together for the student. You want to talk about the City Treasure assignment?
Yeah, the City Treasure assignment is basically a way for the students to go out into the city and find traces of some of the ancient cultures that we were looking at. It was a way for us to sort of get out of the classroom, a way for the students to do a little more independent learning, and a way for them to sort of take images of the city and see how the things that we're talking about in class are relevant, even today, but also a way to give that a place to be seen by other students, just to be visualized that, in fact, ancient Greece, ancient Rome still affect us, that there's Hinduism in the city, that ancient Chinese culture still, is part and parcel of New York City.
And so, Murphy, this is what you made. Can you tell us about your ancient Rome page?
Yeah. One of the City Treasure assignments was to go out into the city and to find ancient Greek architecture, and so I managed to find a column that was close to my dorm, and then some more architecture at the Met on the ceiling, and this assignment really just made me realize that what we're learning in Cultural Foundations is applicable to everyday life. Before I took this course, I didn't know that I was surrounded by this type of architecture, so it really made me aware of everything. And I just think that this assignment was a really great way to showcase what everyone found, and it was really interesting to be able to see the different architecture that my classmates found in relation to mine. So, yeah, I really liked this assignment.
And the rest of your peers also posted different pictures up here, and then you put some text with the pictures.
Yeah, everyone managed to do something different, I think. Everyone found a different piece of architecture, and then we just had to explain where we found it and what the different architecture is classified as, and it was a good way to share everything.
Great. And actually, Professor McCannon, this moves us into your second goal, which was independent learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the Yeah, one of the goals of of hopefully like any liberal arts tradition is for the students to be able to dispense with the professor eventually and become independent learners, and so I have them go out into the city, and in this case I had them go to the Rubin Museum and look for and talk about images of Hinduism. Right. And one of the great things about both the assignment and the platform is that, as Murphy was saying, students all found something different for the most part. Right. That everyone found an aspect of Hinduism or of Greek architecture that they saw, and that they particularly thought was interesting. Right. And I was not there. I was not the one doing the teaching. They actually went out and sort of plumbed the city themselves.
So, Murphy, did that make a difference in terms of this course where you are getting a lot of different information? Did having an assignment like this help you kind of ground it?
Yeah, it really did. I honestly don't think I would have even gone to the Rubin Museum if it hadn't been for this assignment, and I loved it. I went with a couple of friends in the class, and we all managed to find something different, and yeah, it really just solidified what we were learning in the course, and also, especially since I'm not from New York, these assignments really enabled me to see the city and to incorporate my studies with where I'm living. So it was great.
Yeah. So in terms of independent learning, you had another assignment as well. The final assignment was an expert page. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because that also began to move to your third goal for the class, which was developing a more complex set of research skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came up with the expert page assignment, I think first because there's so much material in the course, one that I'm teaching, but there's so much material that I'm leaving out. And the students don't know exactly how much material I'm leaving out, but I always feel like it's a shame what I'm not able to get to. And I thought that this was a way for them to be able to further expand on something that sparked their interest in the course, even something that was tangential, but to be able to find one little thing that they thought was interesting, right? And as independent researchers, sort of go out and find information about it. This is a freshman level course, at least the fall course was a freshman level course, and usually with freshmen, we sort of shy away from research assignments, but I thought this was a really good way for students to get a sense of what it is to have an idea and sort of chase it down. The particular platform is really nice because you can put so much in it. It's not just a 5-page research paper, right? It's a matter of going out and getting, yes, certainly some scholarly sources, but also visual sources and film sources and music and anything else that the student wanted to put in. And the students, were kind of surprised when I told them that really you could do anything as long as it has something in some way to do with the course. So I get a really interesting sort of rainbow of different expert pages.
And it's interesting because you asked them to master material that was off-road, not on the syllabus, and then you also asked them to do it in the course platform. So they were also creating resources for each other, which is really the highlight of being an independent learner. So, Murphy, we're looking at your beautiful page you made. Tell us about what you focused on for your expert page.
Well, I focused on pomegranates because I noticed throughout the course that in several of the texts that we focused on, pomegranates seemed to come up. And I remember as I was reading these texts, I was thinking, oh, didn't I read about pomegranates last week in a different text? And so this assignment really allowed me to focus on this topic that I'd been noticing, and I think that this assignment was really reflective of the course itself because we're not just reading foundational texts, we're focusing on art and music and a lot of different mediums. So making this blog really enabled me to incorporate visuals and research and videos, and yeah, it was a really creative project that I enjoyed, and it completely deviated from the usual 5-page research paper.
So you mentioned to me that you were trying to hit the big scholarly journals on pomegranates, and you were kind of hitting a wall there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went on JSTOR, I think it was, and tried to find scholarly papers about pomegranates, and it was difficult because a lot of the things that I found were more literature based on pomegranates, and it wasn't really giving me a lot of historical background, which was what I was looking for. So I went to different websites and was able to incorporate what I'd found in the scholarly papers with what I found on the web, and then figure out what information was credible and then use that.
So what's interesting about this assignment, Professor McCannon, is that you are actually having students deconstruct and then reconstruct web pages, and to really think about the presentation of that information and some of the anxiety that Murphy was having about, wow, this is showing up in all of these different places, is actually one of the things we want students to think about when they're consulting sources that aren't necessarily scholarly sources.
Yeah, one of the worries, I think, of a lot of professors is that students go on websites to get information, and instead of hitting the students over the head with the idea that you can't trust a website, right? What Murphy did, it seems like the more organic way to do it. Just you're looking for information on a particular topic that you're actually interested in, and if you keep seeing it come up over and over and over again, you sort of go to the idea that, okay, this is probably credible. But if you only see it one place, then maybe those are the kind of skills that we hope to teach students, on how to go about finding information on the web. And so she sort of learned it on her own, which is, again, part and parcel of the assignment is to learn things on your own.
So thanks for letting us take a look at what you all did last semester. Thanks for talking with us, and we'll hope that we can check back in with you maybe this semester and find out what you're doing. Okay. Thanks so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Bye.